This week, the Supreme Court of the United States announced an end to race-based college admissions. Harvard and the University of North Carolina had been using race as a standard for admission, attempting to achieve certain numbers of minority students while denying admission to students whose skin color, in their opinion, was overrepresented. The decision was 6-3 and returned to the standard of equality of all persons. This is a uniquely and historically Christian theological position based on the biblical doctrine of man taught in Genesis 1:27. God created all men and women in his image. It is the foundation of all human rights and commitments to equality. The court's decision is a triumph of Christian doctrine. This is a return to the biblical teaching that God judges men and women as individuals, not on the basis of their group. In Matthew 3, the Jewish religious leaders were claiming a special relationship with God based on their religion. John the Baptist denounced them and said, God can turn rocks into sons of Abraham. In Acts chapter 10, Peter argues essentially the same thing, saying God is no respecter of persons. Both Jew and Gentile have equal access to salvation. God looks at each heart individually and not through any other category, not race, nation, class, gender, denomination, what have you. Martin Luther King held the Christian position. In 1963, in one of the most famous speeches in American history, he said he dreamed of the day when people would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And God has been doing this all along, and from the beginning, the Bible has taught it. Universities are under the grip of the progressive left, which, as I have argued elsewhere, is a Marxist cult. They do not hold the biblical view of man. Marx held that the individual was irrelevant. It's the group that defines your existence. Universities have been practical Marxists, choosing to favor certain groups at the expense of other groups. The group that brought the suit before the court was Asian. Harvard had been discriminating against them in its admission policies. And evangelical Christians also received no favored treatment, along with a host of other groups. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote that, quote, individuals are the sum of their unique experiences, challenges, and accomplishments. What matters is not the barriers they face, but how they choose to confront them. And their race is not to blame for everything, good or bad, that happens in their lives. A contrary, myopic worldview based on individual skin color to the total exclusion of their personal choices is nothing short of racial determinism. End quote. Clarence Thomas is black and a Christian. His is the view informed by Christian doctrine. Universities will try to find a way around the decision. Unless you have lived and worked in today's academic community, you do not realize the religious devotion to racial issues on the part of the modern left. Racial conflict is central to their existence. Fighting racism gives more meaning to their lives than anything else. And they will continue to fight. Fighting an enemy, by the way, that does not exist. Racist America. In a future video, I will argue why America is not a racist nation. Peter Wood of the National Association of Scholars notes that, quote, the higher education establishment long anticipated that this court case might go this way, and it has been working tirelessly to undermine the spirit of it by putting in place workarounds that will allow it to continue to practice racial preferences in admissions, end quote. Nellie Bowles in the Free Press also notes how universities will violate the law. She says that Harvard claims they will certainly comply with the court's decision, but they really won't. So Nellie says, quote, there can't literally be a big -10 for children of Indian descent, but all Korean kids will just get very bad marks for their essays, you see. Harvard will find a way to keep out Asians. The Babylon Bee says Harvard will get around the law by asking prospective students if they prefer barbecue, ranch, or soy sauce. Universities and other venues in our society will continue to promote Marxist rather than Christian theology. This is a ferocious battle and will continue to loom large in the cultural wars. But I predict the Christians will ultimately win this battle because we represent the truth and we are backed by the power of the Holy Spirit of the living God. Thanks for listening, and may God bless you, and may God bless America.